Hey guys, welcome back to the nouvelleGENELLE channel. You are here, it's your girl Genelle. But as you can tell by the title, this is a tutorial on highlighting and contouring. And I was kind of wanting to put up this video for a while, record this video and put it up, because, if you don't know, or some of you guys might know, but Kim Kardashian West just recently released her new makeup line, and her first product that she released were the highlighting and contour sticks. So I know obviously highlighting and contouring has been like a thing for a while. She's actually pretty much the person that put it on the map. I'm not saying she invented it, but that's kind of like what she's known for as far as like makeup. And I was like really surprised that, she's just now coming out with this, since like that was like a big thing like years ago. But and I've seen like a lot of reviews on it. I don't actually have the product, but I just figure if people are like going out and buying these, that I'm sure there are people that should know how to use them if you don't already, because on some of the comments that I've seen on the product itself, or videos on the product, a lot of people were saying how they feel like it's a good starter for people that don't know how to highlight and contour. And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess there are still people out there that don't know how to really do it, as far as like where exactly to put the products, where to be darker, where to do like a lighter, darker color, like bronzing, and then actually contouring, because those are actually two different things if you didn't know. So I figured I could do an in-depth tutorial on how I highlight and contour my face, because like you guys have seen me do it on other tutorials where I'm doing my face, but I don't actually talk about what exactly I'm doing. So this one is specifically on highlighting and contouring. So I'm going to try to make this really quick. It's not necessarily this look. I did highlight and contour my face today. I ran out really quick with my mom. We ran some errands, but I'm actually going to take this off, reapply my foundation, and then come back on and do the highlighting and contouring for you guys. So that's how you know I love you, because I have to go to work later, and I've pretty much used up my good powder, so I may end up having to use another finishing powder that, I mean, it's okay, but it's just like not my fave. But anyway, because I'm like really loving this face that I pulled together this morning. Like, this literally took me like no more than 10 minutes, I promise, to do. So I was really surprised. It's just like really simple, and it just looks really good. But I'm about to take it off so I can do this video. But yeah, so let's get started. You already know what to do. Subscribe. But other than that, let's go. Alright, so I removed my makeup, reapplied my foundation. So as you can see, it's not as bright as it was earlier, because obviously I had it set, I had it highlighted myself, but those particular areas are still brighter than the rest of my face. So when we highlight, we are just going to magnify it and just really bring it out so that it looks like the light is hitting our face all the time in those same areas. So you can see that the light naturally brings out those areas. We're just going to help it out a little bit. So starting with highlighting, because that's what you want to do first. It's just easier. I mean, there are no rules to makeup. You can do it however you want. But we are going to highlight the face with my concealer, the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Chestnut. For highlighting, you can use a creamy concealer. You can use, so I know some people that use foundations for their highlight. You just use a lighter shade. But when highlighting, you want to go, I recommend at least 3 shades lighter than your natural color, or like the foundation that you're using. I like to go just a little bit lighter. So this, I would say, is probably about maybe 4 shades lighter than my complexion. 3 to 4 shades lighter. I mean, it's really personal preference, because sometimes I do like to use the shade yellow in the LA Girl Pro Conceal, but I also have one that is a bit darker for when I don't want to be as bright. It's all about personal preference. Some days I feel like really, really bright under the eyes, and sometimes just about the same. So this one here is in the shade Toffee in the LA Girl Pro Conceal. And if you're looking for like a really cheap, affordable concealer, LA Girl is definitely the way to go. But for this video, I am going to be using my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, because it gives you like super full coverage. If you have dark circles, it'll get that covered. And this one is good for less creasing. You're going to get a lot less creasing than some other concealers. Anyway. But yeah, so I'm going to highlight, and I'm also looking in the mirror. Lately, what I've been doing to highlight, instead of, you guys have seen me sort of like swipe and go in a triangle, but I like to just kind of dot it out as of lately, and then blend it out, because I feel like I end up using not as much product, but still get good coverage on my face, just because, like I said, this particular concealer is really full coverage. So when I do it how I usually do, I actually end up getting more out of it than I need to, if that makes sense. But depending on your product that you're using, you might need to use more. If you're using one like LA Girl Pro Conceal, I don't get as much coverage with this one as I've noticed with the NARS, so I do sort of cover, and you can just sort of go in a triangle shape, like how you've seen me do before, basically just to cover under your eye here and this area. So yeah, but for this one, we're just going to dot it, and we are going to blend it out. I am using my beauty sponge from Real Techniques, and I'm not going to spread it. I'm actually just dabbing, because when you spread, it kind of smears and it gets patchy, and you kind of lose some of the coverage that you're getting. I'm looking in my mirror, that's why. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. And I'm just going to blend it out, and remember, make sure you are using a damp sponge. Don't mind, mine's kind of dirty, because I did just use it this morning, but I cleaned them yesterday, so. And I'm just going to blend it out under the eye, like so, and it looks white, like, but once you like put on blush or highlighter or whatever you choose in your powder, it all blends out. If you get too much product on your sponge and you see you're kind of getting kind of high, you don't want to go too high. So if you want to just turn over your sponge, or just use a new sponge to sort of soak up the product, so you don't have to spread it out so high. Otherwise, the product that's on the sponge is just going to keep getting higher and higher. But I'm actually going to flip mine over and just kind of blend it out here, so that I don't keep going any higher. You really don't want to go any higher than your eyebrow, so already I kind of got it a little high there. I'm just going to take it over product with less product on this side, just to kind of even it out, make sure it's nice, spread, and even. But this is going to be okay, because we are still going to contour our face, and so it's actually going to sort of cover that. But yeah, so I'm just going to go on the other side and do the same thing. So it looks like I've got more product on this side than I do this one. This side blended out a lot better than this side. I might have put too much over here, but when I contour, I'll be able to fix that. It's kind of low. But yeah, and you want to try to keep it along here. So like on this side, you can see I went a little low, but you kind of have like these natural lines around your nose. So you don't really want to go under here. Just kind of keep it rounded here, like this side. This is good. This is too much. So that's how you know you've used too much. But I'll show you how to fix it. So it's okay. And also, when you apply your concealer to your face, it's good if you sort of let it dry just a little bit. You end up getting more coverage. If you like apply it on your face and then start trying to blend it out right away, you end up losing more product because it's moving around too much, and then it gets soaked up, and it actually, you get more on your sponge or on your brush than on your face. So you're going to end up having to reapply more product, if that makes sense. So let it dry for like a few seconds, depending on what your product is. Again, it also depends on what you're using, because LA Girl Pro Conceal dries really fast. So after I apply it and apply the other side, I can go right in and start trying to blend. Otherwise, it's not going to be able to move at all. You don't want it too dry, because then you're not going to be able to pull it out over your face whatsoever. But just a little bit. So I'm going to kind of like to do like a triangle here as well. And I just do a little bit here, and I'm going to spread it up there. And really what this is doing is giving your forehead some dimension. So if you have a larger forehead, you are going to actually want to have more contour than highlight, because it's going to make your forehead look smaller. So that's why I only have a little bit here, and then I'm going to have a little more contour just to sort of make my forehead look not so big, because the contour kind of creates a shadow, so it looks like you don't have as much going on up there. So yeah, I'm going to just blend that out as well. And like I said, I'm going to take it up, which is okay. Just when I go into contour, I'm going to bring the contour down a little more. But I don't need as much highlight though on the forehead. Because I don't want to highlight too much on my forehead. So as you can see, my forehead is now highlighted and blended out quite nicely, actually. And the purpose for the nose, that line sort of elongates your nose, and it slims it in because it makes it look more narrow. Because without it, my nose is actually wide, and like my nose is actually like all of this and then out here, but you can't even tell. It looks like I have a slimmer nose. But if I were to turn to the side, you can see that my nose is actually pretty flat. But from this angle, it looks like my nose is slim and kind of comes out like that. But I have a flat nose. So how about that? And then I'm just going to take like the excess highlight that's on my sponge and sort of dab it above my lip. My upper lip is darker, so it just kind of helps. Not everybody likes to highlight their upper lip, but it's just something I personally like to do. Okay, so for next is the contouring. So I mentioned contouring and bronzing. So contouring is where we get to sort of shape our face. So like our cheekbones. So if you want like a like really sharp, angled, chiseled face, you are going to create like some harsh lines and like really dark here, like when you suck in your face, those lines that sort of are indented in your face, that's basically where you're going to create the shadow. So right there. If you want a more round face, then you are going to sort of round out and sort of bring it up so that it looks like you have a shadow under your cheeks and like your cheeks are rounded and plump like this. So then you would create a line here to create a shadow to make it look more round. And I talked about the forehead, like here. So to make it not look like it's all the way up here, I'm going to create a shadow here so it looks like I have less forehead. And then if you would like, you can also chisel out your jawline to make it a little more sharp as well, which is what we're about to do. So for contouring, I'm using, this is actually a highlight, let me see the actual name. I've had this forever. This is from Sephora, but this is the Highlight Low Light Face Contour Duo Stick, and it is in the shade Deep. And this is similar to the highlight and contour sticks that Kim Kardashian West just came out with. They are duo sticks, except you get a stick for highlighting and a stick for contouring with the kits. But this one, you get a contour shade and you get a highlight shade. Whereas with Kim Kardashian West contour sticks, you get a contour shade and like a lighter shade for bronzing. And then the highlight, you get a matte highlight and then you get a shimmer highlight. And we'll talk about that a little later. But for this one, you just get the dark stick side, and you get a whole lot more product than this. I've had this for forever and I use it all the time. So that tells you how long it lasts. But I've totally used up the highlight side. Like there's absolutely no product left whatsoever. Like that's as far up as it goes. And there's like nothing left. This is the very first thing I ever used for highlighting. But yeah, it's perfect. And this was my starter. So yes, the Kim Kardashian, the sticks, the idea of them are great for starting out because you've got the product right there. You kind of know what you're using. Like it's supposed to be, the colors are supposed to be the right match for your skin tone so that you don't have to try to buy a separate thing for contouring and a separate thing for highlighting and trying to figure out what's going to work together, which is why I love this so much because it just gave me both of what I needed here. Now I've heard mixed reviews about the sticks and how well they work, but we're not going to get into that since I haven't personally used them. But if you are looking for a more affordable option for highlighting and contouring and you don't need all the extraness, I will have this product listed down below in the price, but I do know it is much cheaper than the Kim Kardashian West sticks. The kits for those run for $48 and you get a lot less product. But that's all I'm going to say about that. But if all you need is a highlight and contour and you don't need the shimmer and all the extraness, then this is a great purchase for you and it's cheaper. But yeah, so like I said, we are going to contour. So for my forehead, I'm going to draw a line here, as you can see, and then I'm going to sort of draw some smaller lines here because that's where I'm going to create a shadow around my highlight. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And then for my jawline, I don't like a super sharp jaw, but I don't want my cheeks really, really rounded either. So I'm just going to do a light line here. So I kind of curved it just a little bit, but I didn't bring it all the way down under my cheeks. but if I had just drawn like a really sharp straight line and a thicker one, then it would have given me that look. And I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. And just going to draw it really light. Especially with contouring, you don't want to be really heavy because it can get really muddy and it can spread. Especially with cream highlighting. You can use powders for highlighting. I mean for contouring, sorry. If you feel more comfortable with using powder, if you think that this will just spread too much and you won't be able to control it, this just works for me. I actually use a powder for bronzing, but yeah. And then I'm just going to sort of carve out my jawline, and again I'm just going to be really light-handed here, and then on the other side as well. Like that. And so now I've got my face carved out, and sometimes I like to go, just for the purpose of this video, I'll go ahead and contour my nose. This just helps to bring out the shadows, but sometimes my hand isn't so steady, so I don't even worry about it. I just do the highlight and it looks fine. So this is just an extra step, but just the highlight alone slims out the nose, but this just kind of really, this is like what I do when I'm like really like a night out and I'm just like really trying to look all kinds of glam. But other than that, it's not necessary whatsoever. And then I'm just going to blend that out with my sponge. I'm going to use this flat side so I can use the edge here when I get to my nose. But I'm going to use this back round side for the contour. And I'm just going to blend it out. I like to pull my hair back so that I have more room to bring it up this way. I don't want to bring it any more forward because it's going to look really muddy and it's going to look weird when you try to blend it. So I'm just going to try to keep it back here. And sometimes cream contours, depending on your foundation, might not always blend as easy as others with like other foundations, because I've noticed with my Kat Von D foundation, my cream contour, the stick doesn't blend as well in the foundation. I think because it's thicker and the cream just, like the foundation doesn't move as much as like my NARS foundation. I have on my NARS foundation today because I knew I was going to film this video. Okay, and when you're blending out your jawline here, you want to sort of blend upwards. And it's okay to sort of pull your face like this so that you can really get the product. But blend up and try to keep it all in one spot because you don't want to spread it, then it just looks really muddy. Bring it down this way. You don't want to bring it up here. Okay, so after you have that blended out, for your highlighting areas, it is very good to go over the concealer with a translucent powder or some kind of finishing powder. So I'm all out of Laura Mercier. So for this video, I'm going to be using my finishing powder that I have from Black Radiance, and this is a tinted powder, which is why I don't go for it as much, but that's fine because my highlight that I use anyway is pretty light, so they should mix pretty well. But the reason for doing this is you want to set your concealer, otherwise it will crease throughout the day and you'll get like cracks because it'll harden and it'll just look really nasty. It'll look like you're a zombie and you don't want that. So I'm just going to take this powder. I'm using my MAC Selena brush. It's a little one, just to pat it underneath there. I'm not taking too much of this because I don't want it to take away from my highlight too much since it is tinted. So I still want it to look bright, but this is what I'm using today, so it'll put some color back in my face so I'm not looking as white also, which is also good. And then you're just going to take it everywhere that you placed concealer so that it doesn't crease throughout the day. And I'm just kind of taking it around here to sort of blend it out. I would do the same if I was using my translucent powder, just so that I don't have any harsh lines. See, that looks so much better, like blending out that line. Because that's what you definitely want to make sure you always do, is blend. Blend, 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 blend. So, yeah. So I'm doing that, and so my concealer is set. So we'll be good. Usually, I also bronze my face, and that's just really where you take a lighter, dark shade to sort of give your face some warmth. Contouring just shapes your face, but the bronzing part sort of gives it like a sort of natural, sort of sun-kissed darkness to it. I don't really know how else to explain it. It's just like a little, it's just more warm. It's not as dark and defining, like it's not as shadowy. It's just a lighter, warmer tone. But I'm probably not going to do, I'm not going to do that today because I just had to set using the other setting powder with some color to it, so I already kind of put some color back in my face. But usually I use my, this is actually a blush from MAC. It is the matte blush in the shade Blunt, and I just use this for bronzing my face to just add some color, and I usually do that on top and sort of around where I contoured, and this works as like setting the contour, because any creams that you put on your face you want to set with a powder, so this just sort of also helps set the cream contour, but I don't need to do that since I just used that particular finishing powder. But that's that. And then the other thing is highlighting using a shimmer highlight. And I'm going over this because in the Kim Kardashian West kits, you get a matte highlight and a shimmer highlight. And basically what that means is the concealer that we use is basically the matte highlight. And then the shimmer highlight is what we use to highlight our jawbones. A lot of people also use it to, again, highlight the nose, give it a little more extra shimmer, your cupid's bow here, and sometimes like along here on the forehead. But personally, I just do the jawline, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to take my bronzer, baked bronzer from Black Radiance in the shade Ginger Snap. You guys have seen me use this a bunch. But lately I have been using highlight from my Jaclyn Hill palette, which works really nicely. I'll probably tell you about that in another video, but I'm going to again use that same Selena brush because it's really lightweight. You applying highlighter, you want to use a more lightweight brush so that you can kind of feather it across your face. It just applies better, gives it a better finish, really. So I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to really run it along here, and it kind of gives it like an added glow. You see now like how my face is glowing? Like it's not just bright, but it's glowing. And that's what we want. Or that's what I want. If you want the same things as me, then that's how you do it. And you're just gonna run it along your cheeks there and sort of bring it up right to where your brow starts. And that's it. And you can apply as much as you want, as little as you want, just to give us that nice. And I love this one just because it just gives me a nice, natural, subtle glow. And then there's some days where I'm like, I want that bam, shabam, like in that first impressions video using that Tarte liquid highlighter. That was whoa. And yeah, so that's pretty much how to highlight and contour. Use as much or as little as you want. It's at your discretion, but it's all about the technique here. So this technique works for lighter complexions, darker complexions. It can work for anybody. So I hope you guys found this helpful, and I hope you learned something. You can put this in your everyday, and obviously, like I said, you can use more if you're out for a glam night, or you can use less if you're on the go but you just really want to brighten up your under eyes. Like if you have dark circles, you could at least definitely put concealer on your eyes. You don't even have to contour, because sometimes I don't even contour. I just under my eyes and like my forehead, and then I'm good to go. So yeah, as you feel advised. But like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, be sure to subscribe if you did, and give it a thumbs up, and come back for more awesomeness. Okay? Bye!